Good morning, and once again, we are glad to be able to share our thoughts about the politics of the country over the last 1 week. As always, we are so grateful to the over 7,000 people who have subscribed with us over the last 1 year that we have been doing these weekly conversations. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for your views, even the criticism. It's played a very big role in getting us to where we are 1 year down the road, or 1 year and 2 months down the road. We're very grateful. Na naomba muendelee kutuambia vile mnafikiria as regards what it is that we share on this particular platform. And please subscribe if you think we're making sense. We are grateful. Today and this weekend, I want us to look at the big news last week and the disappointments of that big news. What is the big news last week? That Raila Odinga wants to become the AU chief executive. And I have seen reactions, especially from online, from people who have been standing with him, people who have committed to be the opposition because they did not support the UDA government in the last election, and who have been looking at Raila as a person to champion their cause. And you could tell, or there's a friend of mine, I'll not mention his name today, who was so upset, and he penned a very, very passionate note on Facebook about the disappointment, and even claimed that all the maandamano that Raila has called for in the past, and all the protests and the condemnations and the attacks he's had against the government were all part of a ruse for him to benefit and get a job from this government. Of course, a lot of people, especially those people within Azimio, are feeling very disappointed. I was looking at the Sunday Nation, and there was a small piece that said that the Azimio leadership was caught completely off guard by this particular direction that Raila has taken, and even had to scramble to do a press conference saying that they support and they endorse him for this position because they did not want it to look like he had done a handshake with William Ruto. Raila is the consummate politician of our times. There is no debate about it. Right now, he's the most experienced person still in active politics. And the fact that we see that he's in active politics is also just a sign of how good he is at what he does, considering that he has not really held an official position in politics or in government for close to 20 years, right? The last position he had was Prime Minister, and that ended in 2012. That's over 10 years ago. For 10 years, he has not had any official position in our political calendar, but he makes news and he still determines what happens or what we are talking about. And he determines the fortunes of people. Some people he gets them elected, and some people he gets them unelected. That's Raila for you. But being such a consummate politician, how is it that he is able to do things like this and still get away with it? Remember, from 1997, Raila has had the ability to lead opposition or to be a leading member of the opposition, and immediately after elections, work with government. He did it with Moi. After 1997, when they got into cooperation with KANU, and he ended up being the Secretary General of KANU, right? He left Moi and joined Kibaki. They did 2022 together. Then he led the opposition against Kibaki. And by 2007, he was a primary antagonist against Kibaki. Immediately after the 2007 election, which was very bloody for us, Raila still found a way of getting into office and working with Kibaki that time in a full formal arrangement where he became Prime Minister. Fast forward 2017, he comes from opposition. 2013, loses the election, leads the opposition. But in 2017, manages to actually negotiate. I think it was collaboration this time with Uhuru Kenyatta. Again, fast forward 2022, leads the opposition against William Ruto, loses William Ruto, and less than 2 years later, William Ruto is actually leading a team to champion for him to get a job with the African Union. How is Raila able to do this? In my opinion, Raila is able to do this for a couple of reasons. One, Raila understands real politics. He understands there's nothing like working in the opposition. In fact, most people don't even understand that our Kenyan constitution today does not have an opposition, doesn't have a role of opposition. Even in parliament, we have a majority side and a minority side. We don't have an opposition. The minority leader has the same perks, maybe with a smaller capacity than the majority leader. He has a GK vehicle, he has extra security, he has an office provided for the parliament because he's a leader of the minority side. We do not have an opposition. So every time I hear people speaking outside, sisi ni watu wa opposition, I'm wondering, you don't even understand the country in which we live in. Raila understands the country in which we live in. He understands that there is a majority side that takes over government and benefits from the legis of government and operationalizes government. And there's a minority side that also must figure out how to benefit from government. And he has perfected the art of it. That's the first thing. He understands our politics, he understands our system, and he leverages it. And he's done it so well that Raila has ensured his people and his region benefit from the government, whether or not he has won. Actually, he hasn't won. But there's always this joke about how well Kisumu is doing as compared to Nyeri and Mount Kenya. It's because Raila has understood how to leverage the politics of our country and to understand that there's no such thing as opposition, that once you lose an election, you leverage what you got to benefit your people. Second thing Raila has that makes him so good at what he does, Raila has no pride. Incidentally, pride does not have a place in politics. This thing of saying that, mimi nilikuwa napigana na nani, and because now you've lost, you refuse to accept that you have lost. You refuse to accept that other person actually beat you. It's like going to a football field, you support one team, the other guys you are playing for one team, the other guys are playing for their team, you lose, and everybody knows you lost, and you keep complaining and saying, oh, the referee, oh, sijui what, our goalkeeper, oh, sijui what. That's what happens with a lot of us. Raila doesn't get into that game. And even when he's playing that game of complaining, it's because he's negotiating to move into the next level. He has learned there's nothing like pride. Raila will accept William Ruto is his president if it's going to benefit him. It has nothing to do with pride. He will refuse if it's not going to benefit him. Not about pride. Sometimes, and I see this a lot with especially leaders from Mount Kenya region, this thing of refusing to accept that you have lost an election, that refusing to accept that what you wanted to happen has not happened. In fact, I even see it happening with people who've won. They're not behaving as if they actually won an election that they were part of. And they continue operating and running narratives against their opponents that they had used when they were running for campaign, and keeping themselves looking actually very foolish. Because once you win an election, can you behave like somebody who's won? Once you lose an election, can you behave like somebody who's lost? And then let's move this country forward. You're a minority side then, and the other side is a majority. That doesn't mean it cannot change. Life is so interesting, and how quickly things turn around. One election, you're the one who's won. The next election, you've lost. The next election, you could win again. Now, if you don't accept to move with these ups and downs, what's going to happen to you? You're going to get crushed. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get pushed out of the way. Raila Odinga understands the dynamics of politics, and he flows with them. The election did not go the way he wanted. He'll continue his engagements with the international community. He'll continue engagements with his people, and he'll open a back channel to engage with whoever has won to negotiate what is there for him. And as he's negotiating, people are out here complaining, oh, we will be in opposition, we will be in opposition. I always laugh. You're insisting you're going to be in opposition behind Raila Odinga, and then Raila Odinga leaves. And then you start citing your frustrations. Oh, these politicians cannot be trusted. Raila understands how politics works, and he effects it in the most beneficial way for him, for his people, and for the region he comes from. And he always wins. So this AU journey for Raila, however it goes, must serve as a lesson to the people who vote and the people who have voted for. Once an election is over, you pick yourself up, you accept the reality, and you work from that reality. For example, I have seen some people make fun of the deputy president and how he was a one-term member of parliament and now he's deputy president. What they don't understand is Rigathi Gachagua will never be referred to primarily as a former member of parliament for Madeira. Even if he never moves from where he is, he will always be referred to as a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. That is the reality. The same way Musalia Mudavadi, who served for only 3 months as a vice president, is still referred to as a former vice president of the Republic of Kenya. So just think about this. Musalia Mudavadi served for 3 months only in 2002 when he was appointed by President Daniel Moi as vice president. 3 months. To date, he is still referred to as former vice president. In fact, he's used that 3-month period as vice president to leverage the leadership of the Western Province and claim to be the most senior leader from that region because of those 3 months. This is the reality of politics. And when we learn to accept these realities, we are going to be able to do so much more with our leadership positions and with the capacities we've given, whether you're a leader or you're part of the people who's electing these leaders. This is something we need to understand. The reality of politics, that we do not have an opposition, that you are in a position you're in whatever position you are, whether you are elected on the minority side or the majority side, to leverage that position to benefit your people, to move your political career forward. Whether you won or lost, you must keep moving forward. And the best person to learn that from is Raila Amolo Odinga, doyen of Kenyan's politics. Learned from his dad and perfected that art. He's become an expert. Think about it. This man is going towards 80 years old. We are still discussing him. We are getting jobs for him. We are criticizing him. Some people are upset that he's there to get a job. You know, there was a cartoon I saw with a whole mass of people trying to pull him back as Akina Obasanjo tried to move him forward with Ruto to the AU leadership. Why? People have created their careers around Raila Odinga. There are people who are so scared of what's going to happen to them if Raila Odinga leaves the Kenyan political scene. Will they be able to get elected? There's a joke. Some people get elected because of fighting Raila Odinga. Some people get elected because of defending Raila Odinga. Now Raila is exiting the political scene. People are going to have to style up their politics and recalibrate themselves if they're going to survive. And that is the reality of politics. Second thing I want to re-emphasize, pride. Pride has no place in politics. You must always stay humble. You must always work within the realities of what is there. Not what you want, not what you don't want. The reality of what is there. That is my position. That is my discussion. Those are the points I have for this weekend. As I finish, I want to congratulate the government. I saw the Deputy President launching the payment of stipends for community health promoters. A brilliant group of people who are the first responders to our healthcare needs at village level, at community level. And the fact that they're now having a stipend is going to be very good. These are the people who handle households. They're in charge of making sure you're able to check your sugars. They advise you on how to manage your health, whether you're healthy, or whether you have a chronic condition, or whether you're not sure about where you are. The fact that the government has thought about putting some money behind these people, they've done this for years, and now they have some money. The second group I would wish to see the government consider is the Nyumba Kumi. Another group very similar to the community health providers. We tried to do that when we were in Parliament and we just never were able to pull it together as a National Security Committee. I pray that this government is going to consider finding a stipend for the Nyumba Kumi teams across the country, because they also do a superb job. And I know that would also add to the structure and the stability of our society and our community. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and hoping that that also will be put in place. As always, we are shooting from Rware. Always happy to serve you food. We have amazing pilau, beautiful conference rooms, beautiful accommodation capacity, or just come and hang out, right? Always happy to serve.